Right, we're back at the workshop. The car looks real sorry for itself now it's back at home. We didn't have a proper look when we were at the circuit because didn't really want to do that, but it's properly bent here. Inside, you can't really see, but the floor's all creased up. Job's fucked, so we're going to try and get that pulled straight, I think. Yeah, that grey one over there is looking awfully nice right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bad day. Bad day. Right, chaps. Slightly somber video. Car's broken, innit? It's proper battered. This is the first time I've seen it since I dropped it off after the incident, and it somehow looks worse than I remember it. Front's broken. Side is especially broken. So the plan today is to get this thing off the trailer and really get it up on a ramp and assess the damage, see how bad it is, see just how much damage has been done to the car. I've lost my fog light duct. They took ages to come as well. And I've lost my lip. Been through a lot of that. I have to get a new one. Damn. Just pulled the front bumper off, and this front end section here is considerably worse than anticipated. This bit should be up here. This bit should be out here. So it's all very bad. I've managed to get the bonnet open, and in here doesn't look to have moved all that much. So this is potentially good news. Chassis seems to be okay. Inside the wing, all right up the front. It's just this section here that's not all right. Right, this is the first time I've really been able to see the extent of the damage, and you can see that the impact has been pretty strong here. It's pushed in the side of the shell, and it has just nudged in the floor here, so you can see the floor's creased up. Pretty bad actually. Right, we've now got everything stripped off, all the panels. It looks maybe not as bad as it could have done. I don't know. I'll wait until a professional tells me that they can just pull it straight and I can race it again. But to me, it looks like we should be able to salvage it. The front, we'll just have to wing it. That's definitely properly bent, but don't really do anything other than hold the bumper on, to be honest. So that's not too important. The main concern is that directly behind this pillar is all the mounting points for the subframe, so hopefully that's not had any major damage. We have got some strange toe going on, which I know seems like an obvious thing to say, but it might be that we just need a new steering rack or rod ends or steering arms, who knows. Cross that bridge when we find out if the shell can be pulled. Now, due to the unique nature of this repair, I've had to cover up the door in preparation to take it to somewhere that's hopefully going to put it straight. And I have been accused of being a hoarder before. However, keeping this knackered old shell, as I have been for about 5 years now, is finally going to come in handy, because I'm going to steal this door and then we're going to put it on the race car to make sure everything works by the time he's pulled it straight. Now, if everything goes to plan, this door will come back to this car and a fresh door will appear on that car. Not fully decided yet whether I'm going to put this car back to being all red just paint it up and make it look nice again, or whether it'll just end up patchwork. We'll see how much time we've got, I suppose. But for now, I'll pull this door off and get it ready to transport to the body shop. I don't need this. Oh shit, that's better attached than I thought. Don't need this. Alright, this is going to be slicker than when I took the red door off. Oh, look at that, glorious. So if we do a bit of a side-by-side comparison, this door, nice and straight. This is actually off a car that's also been completely crashed and written off. This door, just got a little dent on it just there. And that's the main thing that's causing the problem. This bottom hinge is now in the wrong place. So the grey one I'll have to do for a while. By the way, if anyone's got a set of these mirrors knocking about, or even just a driver's side one, because the passenger side one survived pretty well. The driver's side one, however, was damaged. If anyone's got one, let me know. I'd like it. A few days have passed, and thanks to a kind donation from an old friend, the red EG looks something like good again. So I've just collected the car from a miracle worker who has jigged the car up nicely, and we now have a door. Needs a little bit more fettling just to get it right, but he's pulled the car straight as best as he can. So the door will open and close, I'm told, but lack of door handle means I'm going to struggle to test that today. The next job is to investigate why this wheel is pointing in the wrong direction. But yeah, he's done a really good job. He's pulled this panel off, pulled everything out, pulled the cage out as well. Doesn't look the prettiest, but it was never going to look pretty after what happened to it. But I'm just pleased it looks like it's going to go again. The shuts are all a little bit tighter than they used to be, especially this one. It's very tight. But hey ho, we'll go again. Dan has also kindly donated a wheel. So we've got a fresh Pro Track to replace broken Pro Track. Not sure if we ever showed this in the video at Donington, but properly mullered. It's taken all of the bead face off. It's still held air though, which is ridiculous. So yeah, we're gonna colour match that one and get the tyre on, and that should be good to go. So here's where the problem is. Steering wheel is straight. Driver's side wheel is straight. Passenger side wheel turning left. Not sure how well you can tell from there, but turning left quite a lot. So the difference in directions is probably a bit more pronounced when it's on the ramp. First glance says that everything looks all right here. The only thing that looks to be bent, Jesus. The only thing that looks to be bent is a steering arm. We've developed, oh hello, you shouldn't be in there. Yeah. We've developed a bit of knock in the steering rack as well. Not sure if that comes across. It was very slightly apparent before, but that might have just done it in. Get it stripped down and see what's what. Investigating a little bit closer, you can see this is definitely the offending article. Now the good news is, because this is the DC2 rack, you'll remember we rebuilt that one when we were putting the car together. I've got this old spare rack here, and I am half certain that the outer arm is interchangeable. So that will be the repair, hopefully. Good news, that came apart more easily than anticipated. So we've got the spare one here, and then we've got the one off the car, which is one bendy boy. Now this rod end is split pretty badly, so I should probably replace that anyway. I think I was meant to replace that a few races ago, but never got round to it. There's a strong possibility I'm not going to replace it now. But at least we know what's bent. So put the new one on and then get it back together and get it aligned. Fingers crossed, good to go. Now, one of the other things that was noted was that the clip from the CV joint had fouled on the subframe and flown off. So I think that it's just pulled the subframe forward with the impact. I've loosened it off and there is some movement in it. So I'm going to MacGyver a way to pull it backwards to gain a bit of clearance here and then nip it up tight again. So good news, I've got the engine loosened off. We can get a decent bit of movement in the engine mounts. So I just need to find a way to pull the engine that way and get it all nipped up. So because I'm just one man with one pair of hands, I've used some ingenuity and a ratchet strap just to give it a gentle pull in the correct direction whilst I tighten the bolts back up. Hopefully that gives us enough clearance on the subframe for the drive shaft clip. Hard to tell whether that's been a success until we get underneath and try and put the clip back on. But whilst we're doing shady stuff and got the engine hoist out, let's see if we can pull the front end back into shape. And it's kind of going, but also kind of just destroying this. This is going to need welding back together this time. It was just a cable tie last time and it did not hold clearly. Although this was probably a tougher test than I anticipated it ever getting. After some minor finessing, that is something like back in the right place. We've got some more serious areas to massage. I think it's going to be a case of take the radiator off. I'm out of welding gas, so no point doing it today, but these should be attached to one another, so I'll get some welding gas and put that right. I think over the winter, a new front panel for this will probably solve all of our problems. Alright, new CV boot clip is on, and I've customised it to make it one slimline boy. In terms of clearance, yes, clearance exists. It is smaller than perhaps it should be, but we're not going to worry about that anymore. It works, it's fine. We're not worried, promise. It's the weekend before Anglesey. I'm not sure exactly what happened in the beginning of this video. It's been a while. We've had a lot of things going on. So the car is now back straight. I've got some new bits ready to put on to make it work again. So this section of the video is hopefully going to be rebuilding the car and sticking it back together. I think I've got, what's that part? Where's the other one? Ah, steering rack. So this part of the video is hopefully going to be putting the car back together, getting everything where it needs to be, and ready for a wheel alignment, in theory, ready to race. So the first job to do is actually to replace this steering rack bush, which I believe has been wrong the whole time. Chris at CP, who currently only has one sticker on the car, Chris has sorted out the extra bushes that we need to get it right. We've then got a steering arm to put on, bolt that back up, that should be the steering back in play. That seems to have gone back together pretty well. I know I said earlier I wasn't going to replace this, but I have actually put one on. Turns out I had one on the shelf, so we've got a new track rod end on. Looks like it's all in line. Oh, I've got the DC2 bush in as well. That was a bit of a pig to do, but that's now in the steering rack. So I'm just going to bolt a wheel back on and see if that movement has gone. Speaking of wheels, this one is absolutely hammered. Just been and got the tyre on the new one today. Not good, that. So the new one, kindly donated by Dan, will match up nicely with the other side. Great news, that has solved the problem we were having. So this whole time it was just the wrong bush in the steering rack, luckily I never did anything to try and fix it, so hopefully that stops the clunking on D-cell as well. That I've been thinking was the exhaust manifold against the subframe. That'd be an interesting one. We'll see if that's still there. That looks something like how it's supposed to. Now the next job is going to be to pull this radiator off and get the front end somewhat straightened out so the bonnet can close, and then we'll look at getting the wing door and bumper mounted. So this maybe looks worse than when I started, but it's starting to get straightened up. I've managed to get some structure back into this central support here. I've managed to get the edges here straightened back out. You can see these look kind of more normal now. What I'm going to do next is I've clamped up this front radiator stay and I've clamped it to the front panel here. So I'm just going to put a bit of weld on there to try and put a bit of structure back in and make it one piece again. That way it shouldn't be so flappy. Once it's kind of joined together, we'll pull that side up so there's something like straight, so that when the bumper hangs on, it meets the bonnet. That's the plan. That's the plan. Great success. This is now stuck back together. So this is now structurally one piece. Doesn't move about like it used to. It's still a bit wonky, but I think when the bumper goes on, it'll all end up fine. So I think that's a job done. Let's tidy it up. Like a brand new car again. No dramas. Jigman's pulled a miracle off. All looks good. So next job, build this door up, find a way to get this bumper to fit back on, even though it's a bit battered. I think we are going to make it go again. What you've not seen is a lot of time spent pulling this door apart. It was quite bent, so I had to basically just chop the inside out of it to get all the window mech out. The door that the man kindly donated, now all painted up and bolted on the car. Didn't bother repairing it, just painted it as it was. But it's taken me about probably, what, an hour and a half to get this ready, but it now works. Door opens and closes. Doesn't look perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but that's it. Door fixed. Now wing and bumper to do. Right, I've just chucked the wing on, and this is pretty impressive, to be honest, in terms of how well it's going back together. Everything fits. The bonnet closes, no dramas. So just a little bit of fettling to make sure the bonnet doesn't foul here. And aside from that, it's looking remarkably good. Quite a simple rebuild. Cooking on gas here. I've got the front bumper back on and it's mounted up pretty nice. That looks all right to me. I've lost one of my scoops and this one's on its way out as well. So I need to get a pair of these sorted, but I think there's a pair on the way. I think someone's sorting us out with them. The reason I'm reusing this bumper is because it's got all the mesh in it and everything ready to go. One less thing to mess about with. Great success. The car is now back together and looks pretty decent considering. Bit battle scarred, but ready to rip. Got a few little bits to do. I've got to get the scoops back in. I've got to get the wheels aligned. I think it still works. I'm going to take it for a test run at some point, but looking good. That's an extremely brief test drive complete. There was a strange noise when I got down to the bottom there. And predominant problem was the rubbing of this front wheel arch. So we'll have to just do a little bit of arch rolling. Oops. That's that job. We've got a bit of clearance now. My main concern was this CV joint clip. But that looks to be, yeah, that looks okay. It's close, but it's not hitting anything. So I think we're good. Safe to say that's been a battle, but it's come out good for it. This is the only bit that's not exactly right, but I'm pretty sure that's something to do with the door, not the car. all done, ready for Anglesey.